Good morning. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw with our Tuesday morning ad clinic. And last time we did this, we were overwhelmed with submissions. I think we had 7. We barely had time to get to them all. And I think fortunately 1 or 2 did not show up, and so we were able to get it all in. This month, it's kind of the opposite. We actually only have 1 submission today. I guess it's sort of the dog days of summer, who knows. So we will cover that one. And Alex Walter is our submittor. And Alex, I see that you are on the phone, but you're going to need to input your PIN. And I'll tell you what your PIN is in just a minute. Okay, Alex, can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you, Rich.
Okay, well, we're now live. That was awkward and confusing, but here we are. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm going to go back to the beginning page, AC Tune-Up Program. My first question for you, Alex, is have you used this recently or in the past? And if so, what's been the results?
I have used it in the past, and the response was, I would say, fairly good.
Can you quantify that?
I can say that of the cards, and we did use it as a radius mailing thing, and it, as I recall, it went to about 400 homes, and from that we got about a 10% close rate.
So 40 people called, is that right?
Yes.
I would consider that to be outstanding. What do you think?
Well, I think it really was very good, and a lot of it had to do, of course, with our public utility, Xcel Energy, subsidizing the program.
Well, to that extent, here's my comments on this. The first thing that's going to happen when you send this out to 400 people as a radius is, it obviously says AC Tune-Up Program. It's going to just remind people, hey, you need to get your AC tuned up. In terms of the details of how it works, and if we go into the back, some of the benefits, you know, I don't know that these benefits, number one, are all that easy to read, and number two, I don't know that they're all that compelling. So let's look at them, and I'll tell you what I mean. Why do it? It's almost free. You'll save money because a tuned-up air conditioner uses electricity. I think that's mildly compelling. I don't think there's a whole lot of people sitting around going, wow, I can't wait to get my air conditioner tuned up so I have less money on my electricity bill. I think it's something that people understand. They know that it's probably true. They can't quantify how much, and their assumption is it's probably a little bit, but it's not going to change their life. So I'm not saying don't say it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's mildly compelling. It's not a big, huge, oh my gosh, I got to get this done kind of thing. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Now, that being said, there's something that we can do on the back here with just enhancing readability, making the points that you do have a little bit easier to read. Because right now, it says, why do it? It's almost free. You're forcing the person who gets this card to have to read all of the text to understand any of the text, which sounds a little bit weird, because you might be thinking, well, what do you mean? Don't they have to read the text to understand the text? No, they actually don't. What we want to do is we want to take and just put some quick headers on each of these 1, 2, 3, 4 items so that they can scan it and skim it very quickly and get the gist of what it is without having to read every last word, okay? So what we might do is on number 1, instead of saying it will save you money because a tuned-up air conditioner uses electricity, we might put a header there in blue and maybe bold so that it's consistent with the rest of the card that says save money on electricity, and then a colon. And then after that, it might say a tuned-up air conditioner uses less electricity. And then when they see that, they immediately have the ability to visually, instantly capture, okay, I know what number 1 is. If they want to read the text next to the header, they can. It's there, it's available. But if they want to just skim it and sort of at a higher level, 30,000-foot view, just kind of get a quick idea of what these things are, they're going to be more likely to get more out of the postcard. Number 2 says it'll make you more comfortable because it'll supply better indoor air quality for you and your family to breathe. Now, I'm a little bit conflicted on this. I know a little bit about air conditioning marketing, and this could mean 2 different things. number one thing it could mean is what the beginning of the sentence says. It'll keep you more comfortable. Is it going to keep you more comfortable because it's going to keep your temperature more consistent in your house and in line with what the thermostat says? Or is it going to keep you more comfortable because the air quality is going to be better? Or is it both? Or is it just one of those? Which is it?
It's really all of the above.
Okay, and the first one about keeping your air temperature more consistent is a little bit lost in there. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think what you're suggesting, maybe without saying it, I like white space, and there are too many words in this 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I were doing this again, I think I'd try and take each of those 4 points and turn each one of them into maybe 2 or 3 words each, and bold type, sort of like subheadings.
Subheadings, and you can still put some text next to them, but see, here's the difference. The way you have it now, you said I like white space. It's not really white space per se that you should be liking or disliking or having any opinion on. It should be, how easy is it for people to read? That's really the key here. It's what I call readability. Okay, so you can have lots.
You want each point to jump out at you.
Yeah, you can have lots and lots of text and still have good readability. I'm not suggesting you need lots and lots of text, but it's possible to have a lot of text and still have it be very readable. And right now, you've got what I would consider to be a fair amount of text, but it's not very readable. So point number one, we might come in here and say, save money on electricity. And then if you wanted a little bit of text after that, you could put a little text after that. Number two, home temperature more comfortable. And then after that, you might say in text something like a tuned-up air conditioner doesn't have to work as hard to keep your temperature consistent in your house. And then point number three, so I'm going to actually split point number 2 into 2 points. So now it becomes number 3, which is better air quality, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because it's a separate point. It's related to point number 2, but it's still its own point. Point number 3 then becomes better indoor air quality. Now, just explain to me very, very briefly, why is the indoor air quality better after a tune-up? Is it because you changed filters, or what is it?
Probably is because we changed the filter, service the filter, whatever the case may be. Or we, depend on the system, if there's more to it than just the air cleaner, why maybe we've got some kind of a ventilation system that would be serviced and so forth. So it could get pretty complicated.
Okay, but we can put, air quality, better air quality, servicing the filters and other parts makes the air that your family breathes cleaner. Just simple like that, right?
Yes.
Now, I want to point something out to you here. So far, we've got 3 points. Point number 1 is save electricity. Point 2 is keeps your air temperature consistent so you're more comfortable. And the third point is that your air quality is better. Now, if I put those 3 points with short, let's call it 3, 4, 5, something like that word headers, and people can quickly scan those, we haven't even gotten to the next 2 points, but just those 3 points. Here's what's interesting about that. It allows people to quickly see it, which is obvious, which is good. But here's the subtle point that I don't want to escape. Different people are going to be attracted to different points. If a particular person has been feeling the pinch of their energy bill lately, that might be attractive to them. If somebody feels like their children are suffering from allergies or poor air quality, then that might be interesting to them. If somebody feels like they have to be fiddling with their thermostat all the time, then that one might be interesting to them, or some combination of those. So we're just allowing people to have more touch points. It's more surface area, more exposure to these points, so that the ones that are more interesting and relevant to them can grab them, right?
Okay, I hear you.
Yeah, because as you have it right now, they're kind of buried. Number 3, to make your air conditioner last longer. Okay, so that point would simply be extend the life of your air conditioner, and then you could put that text. You know, that second sentence there, don't let it self-destruct while it keeps you cool, is really pretty redundant with the first sentence. It'll make your air conditioner last longer because it won't overheat while it keeps you cool. Don't let it self-destruct while it keeps you cool. It's pretty redundant. I don't think it's really necessary, that second sentence there.
Okay.
Now, hey, before I move any further, let's just step back and make an overarching comment. We're just doing some fine-tuning here. None of this stuff is, hey, this is going to massively, triple the response or anything like that. If you've got a 10% response, that's really good. My first and foremost thing that I would say to you is don't really come in here and change a lot. You might want to test a whole different approach against this, send 400 of this one, 400 of some other approach, see which one works best. But if I hear a guy tell me they've got a 10% response, I'm going to be pretty hesitant to want to change a whole lot. All I want to do is clean up the readability a little bit. That's all I'm doing right here, okay?
Okay.
Number 4, now, when I asked you before, you said that you thought that the subsidy of the energy company was a pretty big deal. And you know what? If you go back to the front page, it really is not clear at all that there's any subsidy. I mean, you've got this little thing here that says due to Xcel Energy help, which I'm going to take a guess that the overwhelming majority of people that look at this postcard, they don't even notice that, or if they do notice it, they don't comprehend what it means. Then when you come to the back, you've buried it at 0.4, and people generally tend to expect that things go in order of importance. So the 4th thing is probably the least important thing. Just mentally, at a snapshot, that's people's assumption. Now, it may not be true, and they might read it, and they might find it to be different, but that's people's natural assumption. So you've buried it. So first of all, on the front, it's not clear at all. Number 2, on the back, where you do go into it a little bit more, you've buried it at number 4, and there is no header, so people might miss it. But then let's read it. It's almost free because Xcel Energy is subsidizing the cost of doing it. We will be using high-tech equipment never before used on your air conditioning system. So first of all, you shoehorned another point into point number 4. The idea of using high-tech equipment, it really has nothing to do with Xcel Energy subsidizing it. True enough?
Well, I have to think about that. Yes and no.
There's no clear connection. To me, as an uninitiated reader, I can't tell what the connection is.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. The Xcel Energy required us to use equipment that most contractors would not use.
What if you didn't have a subsidy from Xcel Energy? Would you use the same equipment anyway or not?
We would, yes.
Okay. Now, the discussion we're having right now isn't should you or shouldn't you use it, or would you use it. I'm just trying to get a feel for the landscape. I'm just trying to understand how you operate over there. I would look at this and say they appear to be 2 different items, which is okay, but when somebody reads it, it doesn't make sense. It's almost free because Xcel Energy is subsidizing the cost of doing it, and then we'll be using high-tech equipment never before used on the air conditioning system. It's almost like I'm expecting more explanation of why it's almost free, and instead I get this discussion about what kind of equipment you're using, and it's kind of a head-scratcher.
Well, it is, and maybe I could look at it 2 ways. I could say, why do we say anything at all, number 1, and number 2, maybe it does work as a head-scratcher, and somebody should ask about it.
Well, that's a game that I'm not all that interested in playing as a marketer. I'm really not. I mean,
do we really need to say anything at all? Are 3 points enough?
Maybe not. Let's do this. Let's explore this instead. Let's explore this first part of point 4, which is it's almost free because Xcel Energy is subsidizing the cost of doing it. Just tell me. I'm not saying we're going to put it in the letter or anything like that. I just want to understand. Tell me how this works. What do you mean they subsidize it?
We we do give them test protocol. We fill out a form that complies with Xcel Energy's requirements and send that, or the homeowner sends that to Xcel Energy, and Xcel Energy pays them or gives them a check, sends them a check.
Okay, so on your front of your card, you say it's 127. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
How much do you get paid from the homeowner for this tune-up?
$127.
So they're going to write you a check or give you a credit card for $127. Is that correct?
That's correct, and XL Energy pays the rest.
And how much is the rest?
It wasn't 229, which this would lead you to believe. I'm thinking it was right around $200. So we were getting about $75 on each one of these from XL Energy.
Okay, now that's different than what you said a minute ago. You said that XL Energy sends the homeowner directly money.
Well, it can be done two ways. I'd have to show you the form. The form can either have the money go to the homeowner, or the money can be signed over so that it's sent to the contractor. And that's part of this form.
So at the end of the day, I think. Let me see if I got it right. I think here's what you're telling me. The homeowner is actually going to pay you $202, and then XL Energy is going to cut you back. He's going to cut the homeowner a check for $75, or the homeowner can pay you $127, and then XL Energy will cut you the check for $75. Is that correct?
That's right.
And which way do you normally do? Does the homeowner usually pay $200?
We've done it both ways.
Well,
I of course prefer to get paid the full amount by the homeowner, but the homeowner brings up the kind of a discussion that you are now. The homeowner would rather pay less. Some homeowners think that what we've done is just outstanding, and so they're perfectly willing to give us the whole dollar amount, and then
so you kind of let them choose at the point of sale. Is that right?
Yeah, it isn't a big deal to us, so we let them pick and choose.
Okay, so you go in there. I'm just trying to understand this, okay? I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to, hopefully this doesn't sound negative at all. I just want to understand it. So you go into the homeowner, you perform the tune-up, and when it comes time to settle up with them, you say, hey, you've got a couple choices here. I'm going to round the numbers off. Is that okay? You're going to say to them, look, it's $200, and if you fill this in, then the energy company will send you a check for $75, which brings your cost down to $127. Or you can just pay us $127, and you fill this form out and sign it here, and then they'll send the check to us for the other $75. Which do you prefer? Is that basically the conversation you had?
That's basically it, yes.
Okay. Yeah, part of me is sitting here screaming, well, you're getting a 10% response, so who cares? Just go with what you've got. The other part of me is saying, it'd probably benefit you to explain that a little bit. Not the details, not all of that, but right now it's really, really vague. Because you got this offer here, this is free labor, regularly $229, now it's only $127. Then we're introducing this idea that XL Energy is subsidizing the cost of doing it. I guess what you're really saying is XL Energy is paying the cost of the labor?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we talk about labor. I suppose you could call it a lot of things. You could just say it's a discount. You could there are a lot of different ways you can put it. The people who put the card together just chose to do it that way, and I didn't find any really strong objection.
Okay. Well, I don't have a strong objection either. I'm just questioning how clear it is. I'm assuming that when people call you, that they are asking you questions about, well, hey, what does this mean? How does this work? And you got to explain it to them. Is that probably true?
If you don't say free labor, and instead of using the word labor, what are you going to say? I like the word free, and free is a real catchy word, of course, always.
Here's what I want to know: when people call you from this card, what do they ask you? What are they saying?
Typically, they're saying, "When can we do it?"
Because I'm assuming that they're going to have questions about how this works. They're going to call you and go, "Hey, I got this card. This sounds great. I need my air conditioner tuned up, so I'd like you to come out." So, strangely enough, they see the $127, and so that's what they think they're going to pay, and there isn't any real discussion. I can't recall ever having a real discussion about how it works.
there are questions when they actually see the form,
okay.
Excel Energy form.
Okay, so that's really where I was going with this. Here's what I'm guessing. The majority of the people you're doing business with, they don't even understand that there is an Excel Energy subsidy until it comes time to pay.
They may understand it, but all they care is their own pocketbook, which is $127.
Okay, but again, to my point, they're not asking when they call. They're not wondering how it works. They're just looking at it going,
no.
okay, it's $127. My assumption is people are looking at this postcard. They see free labor. It used to be $229. Now it's only $127. They go, okay, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I'll call.
That's just exactly what happens.
And if you just hypothetically, if you were to ask a person at the point of calling, hey, what do you think about this energy subsidy thing? They'd probably go, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's probably what they would say.
I think you're dead on. Yes.
Okay. All I'm trying to establish is this. All of that discussion is just helping me to understand, are people really being motivated by that or not? And the answer is they're probably not. They're just being motivated by the fact that there's a good price.
That's right.
Okay. That being the case, then, I don't know that it's particularly critical to change this. I would make it easier to read still. So number 4, we might change it to it's almost free as the header. Excel Energy is subsidizing the cost to bring the price down, to $127, whatever, something like that.
Yeah, basically,
it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, just giving Excel Energy the credit for whatever.
Yeah. Keep yourself cool this summer. Don't wait. Call Alex Walter today. The reason something like this works is because it's very, very straightforward. All of the stuff we just talked about on the back and making this easier to read, like I said, it's good and it's more readable, but it's not going to make a huge difference because it's kind of like this. If your tires are bald and you need new tires, you're responsive to tire ads, right? If your refrigerator goes out, you become responsive to refrigerator ads. If your car is old and crusty and you've got, you need a new car, you become responsive to those kind of ads. And I think what's happening is it's just a very straightforward offer. I need my AC tuned up. Here's one with free labor. When you go in to service these guys, you try to put them on any kind of a perpetual contract or anything?
We do all kinds of things. We survey the system and we offer an agreement. We also put the system over and we make them an offer to purchase all kinds of things that they don't have.
Yeah, so that $127 really is just your foot in the door to make big money later when there's repairs or replacements needed, correct?
Well, it's actually about $200. I mean, we're being paid roughly $200 overall to make a service call. Sure, we do have time in it, but in effect, we're being paid to do a little bit of work, and we're being paid to make a proposal.
Yep. So that being said, I think I'm very hesitant to want to come in and change stuff that's working.
I appreciate your suggestions. You haven't said it, but I interpret sort of what you're saying is you like KISS, keep it simple. And simple and straightforward is good. And the 4 points on the back, I think those could be simplified, made a little bit more direct, just better communication.
One of the biggest problems I see on these ad clinics when people submit their ads is that people overcomplicate stuff. They try to get too in-depth. They try to tell too much story, and they bury a lot of the information, make it hard to read. And, it's just not that hard to understand. It's an AC tune-up offer. It's a good price. Great.
That's all I need to say.
I need my AC tuned up. And, it's one of those things where, people, they just need a little kick in the pants to do it. And the postcard is providing that little kick in the pants.
Yep.
We live down here in Texas, and we've got, I think we've got something like 4 air conditioners in our house. It's just a pretty big house, and it's hot. And you're supposed to go up there and change those filters all the time, right?
Yes.
And we know we're supposed to go up there and change them, and we're supposed to do it. And you know what? We just forget. I mean, always we forget. We just need a little kick in the pants. And sometimes the stuff shows up, and we go, golly, I've been meaning to do that. Okay, let me call this guy.
Well, Rich, you're telling me that you should have a service agreement with a contractor who comes in and does that for you.
Well, I have.
I'm a little far away, but to do it for you, so you need to get somebody a little bit closer to you.
What are you talking about? It's only a 12-hour drive. It's not a big deal. Just send a truck down once a month, just for me.
I'll do that. That's just $10,000 a month will be the charge.
Actually, right across the street from my house is the owner of one of the biggest air conditioning companies in the area, and he's never asked me for my business. So I guess he's going to have to ask me. Anyway, I appreciate you submitting this. Sorry for the snafu at the beginning. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. We'll troubleshoot that, and don't let that scare you off from calling back in and participating again in the future, okay?
Well, I certainly won't. I've done these many times, and I don't know why it didn't work either, so it's a mystery to me.
We'll look into it. Anyway, I don't know if you heard me say at the beginning, you were the only person that submitted something today, so that being said, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar today, so thanks for participating, and we'll be back next week with another webinar. Thanks so much. See ya.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Bye.